I guess it's finals time in more ways than one. But that's good for me because it means my insane marathon of 6 videos a day is finished. Oh my gosh. It's done. Oh, anyhow. This is going to be the finals from Kharak Cup 6, obviously. And it's going to be between Descara and I was very happy with this. But I know that I need to mix something up. I know that I need to do something different than I've been doing before because it's clearly not working. Descara beat me in the qualifier section. He's beaten me many times before. I'm not really feeling that confident doing my normal thing against him, you know what I mean? So I decided to play as random. That was the first thing. And now the way that this tournament works, you have to play as the same faction for an entire series. So I'll be playing random for all 3 games potentially of the series should it go to 3 maps. And that gives me an early game advantage in that Descara doesn't know what faction I am, but I don't really either. And if I roll a faction I don't want, doesn't matter, I have to go with it. So I'm kind of going off of luck here, but also hoping to utilize that advantage that he doesn't know what I'm going to do, he doesn't even know who I am, he can't particularly counter-strat against me because this is my final form, I guess you could say. It sounds as stupid as I don't know. Sounds as stupid as I was expecting. But anyway, he can't counter-strat against me because I don't even know what I'm gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, there's no expecting it. So what is the order of business going to be? It's gonna be 2 production cruises into a sand skimmer rush here. And I was saying to myself during this, like, I really hope he's not going for AAVs because I would just die. Fortunately, that's not the case. He's going to go for some early LAV spam. I think he's doing that because he wants to know who I am pretty early on. He wants to have kind of a build that works for basically anything. If I went for a railgun rush and he has AAVs out on the field, he's dead, you know what I mean? If he just goes for some early LAVs and then goes into a sport cruiser first, this is very safe. It works against almost anything. But fortunately, it's going to be quite fun for me. Now, I'm kind of surprised he didn't send out a probe. I think he would want to know what faction I was, but he didn't do that. So he's only going to see it just now, and he has scouted 1 production cruiser. I'm not sure if he saw the second one. I should have been paying attention to that. But based on the number of sand skimmers, he probably knows going to be some sand skimmer aggression in the beginning here, but nothing I can't handle, right? That's probably what he's thinking. But no, this is not a railgun rush. This is not an assault ship rush. This is just a sand skimmer rush. This is kind of a fun build. You should try it out sometime. But basically, you just make like hundreds of sand skimmers. And then you can transition into railguns, you can transition into assault ships, I don't know. But you start with just sand skimmers, that's it. And so we are having a little bit of a micro battle in the front here. He is not quite going to get that guy, that's pretty lucky for me there. Upgrades? Anyone got upgrades? No upgrades just yet. He's going to get Power Reserve 1, which is smart for him because, you know, he needs Power Reserves, obviously, if he's going to hold this off at the carrier. 1 sand skimmer going to go down right there. Second one probably going to follow, but I'm going to get 1 kill, 2 kills, 3, and there's all the LEVs gone. Going to set up a turret now with his base burner, and I decide I need to kill this turret. Look how long this turret takes to kill because it's getting healed by the sport cruiser, you know what I mean? And I think I commented in the game at this point, like, God turret, because I was amazed. Anyway... now Descara, you'll notice, had gone for railgun fabrication. He's already finished that, but he didn't make any because there's nothing to make railguns against here. The trick is, you know, if I go into railguns or into assault ships, he makes railguns, he can counter it, no problem. But he doesn't see any of those, so now he's going into AAV fabrication. What am I actually doing here? I'm going to refinery mode. I'm just going to run back and get onto 3 bases. So this is kind of a mind gamey tactic here, but I'm essentially saying, like, I'm going to do literally the most aggressive thing that you can possibly do in this game. And then I'm actually gonna head back to my base as if nothing's happened. And Descara really doesn't see it coming. He's still, you know, preparing for an attack. He's getting AV fabrication. He's getting ready to fight back against me here. He doesn't know, like, what's going on. As for, like, the actual damage done by this push, it's pretty much even on both sides. I've actually lost a little bit more than he has. But if you look at the economies, you'll see a completely different story. I'm on 2 bases right now, because refinery mode is going to finish in negligible time. And then I'm going to be on 3 bases, and Descara is still on just kind of like 1.5, basically. He's going to scout this now with his probe there. He only saw one of them, but he probably assumes both. And at this point he's going to know, but I should have a very comfortable game here because I'm ahead in economy. I'm behind in tech actually pretty significantly, but Descara has no momentum, so if I go for tech now as fast as possible, and I probably will go for railguns here, I'll be completely fine, and I'm not going to get pushed particularly far at all. I'm not even really going to lose map control. The only thing I need to worry about is kind of avoiding this AAV. Oh dear. I'm getting those hiccups that always accompany me when I begin casting. It's so weird. If I cast enough games, they go away, but at the start I always have these horrible hiccups. Look at that Sandskimmer, what a hero. He made it out. But yeah, delaying for a little bit of time there again here to stop the AAV from getting back to my base. That's the plan right there. Railgun fabrication gonna finish pretty soon. And I'm very comfortably on 3 bases here. I was feeling really good at this point. I was like, haha, yes! You know what I mean? Like, I got him, kind of. I know it's not over yet, but I was feeling very comfortable at the game at this point already. What can Descara do still? Just, you know, try to expand this base as fast as possible and play normal. Game's certainly not over yet. I'm just feeling comfortable with it. This is a place that I would like to be. Gonna go ahead and pick up an artifact here. Attempt to extract, so is Descara. You'll notice I had salvaged my early game base burner. This is a new one that I had produced. I'm also, as you can see, getting another production cruiser here, which would free up my carrier to do, you know, all kinds of nasty things across the map. Probably gonna get railgun armor pretty soon, or at least I should. We'll see. Anyway, this AAV gonna try to pressure pretty early on. This is the scanner from my starting game base runner, so I know he's there. I'm not gonna be surprised by this at all. This base runner here gonna get tickled a little bit as well. Gonna find some nice salvager pickups right here, and this is really nice. Kind of actually a surprising opening from Descara. He doesn't usually leave things open like that. So I'm gonna get one salvager pickup, deny a little bit of mining time. But there's the support cruiser from Descara. Certainly he'll plug up this hole pretty soon, and he will be on 3 bases just as I. He should extract here. No real way for me to stop that, of course. We stayed there looking at this AAV from across the dune for like the longest time, by the way. That was hilarious. But one Sandskimmer is going to get killed there. Assault Railgun is going to bully this AAV off the location right there. Railgun armor 2 on the way for me. Heavy vehicles 1 for Descara. And I'm also going to get missile ship fabrication just because, you know me, I'm paranoid about these air transitions. I've got to say, I don't really check carriers very often to see what the tech is, so I should really get to doing that a little bit more often, but I did not know, actually, that he had AAVs and railguns. If that were the case, I probably still would have gone for this, but I might have considered it a little bit longer, because that means it's probably not going to be, you know, an air transition, but that's the case. Fleet capacity getting upgraded for me now, just kind of beefing up, getting a bit more units. What is Descara going for, meanwhile? No special tech choices from him just yet, but he's not gonna focus on the carry, doesn't look like. Oh, and there we go. So he's moving up into assault cruiser fabrication. That's obviously not what he wants because there are already goodness, heavy railguns on the field, so assault cruisers would not really be a good choice here. He wants to go into artillery. Meanwhile, by the way, look at this one railgun here. Look how much damage he's taken so far by this AAV. It's doing, of course, you know, 1 damage per shot at him. That's the big problem here. Armor 3 not even finished yet. But once it is finished, he's going to get a health boost. So he just suddenly gets 200 more health in this fight. He's going to take on these 2 AAVs single-handedly. I think that's so funny. I didn't realize until that moment right there just how much railgun armor does against AAVs. Like, they're trash, man. Even, I think, the heavy railgun has 9 armor, you notice? So, like, the AAV does 2 damage per shot. My goodness. If you don't know why you're supposed to be going for railgun armor, this is the reason why, alright? This thing can single-handedly take out 2 AAVs. Right, so assault cruiser fabrication about to finish, and actually he may go for a couple of them because I am using Sandskimmers quite a lot in my army here. I'm kind of trying to make a net of anti-air by putting both of them on this side, lol, never mind, but, you know, that is the general idea. You want to make sure that you're covered on every flank that he could push on. But my supporting unit for these railguns is Strikecraft. So, you know, I do want to get the upgrades for them. I'm prioritizing that. My carrier also in a very aggressive position right here. It just basically holds the extraction zone. And this is a really robust force here, by the way. It looks like it's all railguns. The LAV should be able to come and punish it, right? Not really. They don't have any damage upgrades, and there are assault railguns in the mix here, so that wouldn't really work as well as you'd think. Have I got dart maneuver? No. I should have gotten dart maneuver. That's my favorite tech. But anyway, artillery cruiser fabrication now on the way, but that is an exceedingly long tech, of course. I'm going to see if I can push up and take this high ground position. I already have this high ground position. I'm not occupying it right now, but if you can occupy both these high ground positions, you know, you're in a good spot in this map. You're clearly sort of, you know, the dominant player if you're holding both of the high grounds like that. My missile ship attempts to barrage the carrier. Don't really get too much out of that one, but look, this is an armored unit. It has less armor than a heavy railgun, let alone an assault railgun. That's hilarious. This seems to be where the battle is taking place. I'm going to move all my sandskimmers back over to that area as well as my carrier with them. You can see me being up here on the high ground. I'm enjoying this fight here, and the more I can delay this fight, the more I can come in and out and in and out, the more advantage I have as the Gaussian player, because obviously my units are going to re-heal there. Gonna kind of do a run-by of my opponent's carrier here. It's usually not a good idea, but I do know that I have the upgrade advantage. I'm kind of just trying to push in, but that does look like a little bit of a waste to me. But the really nice thing here too is that Descara can't just stay here, because eventually my missile ship will go off, cooldown, I'll barrage him again. He can't heal that damage back, so this is really a fight that definitely favors the Gaussian player with these particular compositions. A couple of heavy railguns going to be offered to the LAV gods. I'm not sure what I'm doing over there, but I do have my carrier in the general area, so I shouldn't take any significant losses here. I also have lots of sandskimmers in the meantime. This strike force here getting a lot of good value for me. Even getting a barrage off against those railguns, and that's quite effective. It takes out a heavy railgun, or just, they're not heavies, you know, but whatever. But here I am in my opponent's base. He's got an LAV turret, which is doing some good damage actually to my units, but that will get taken out eventually. Like, my speaking is not catching up with like where my camera is positioned. It's funny. But yeah, so support crews are going to go down over here. You can tell the action is going on these two high ground positions essentially. But overall, I'm pushing my opponent back in, hemming him a little bit further back. Things could change now, though, because he's getting artillery, so he's moved up in tech, and that could always change, you know, the feel of the match here. But if you look at the railgun count, it's definitely in my favor, right? By, you know, a fair bit. I've got them kind of in two groups right here, but that's actually very good for me. I can poke in and out and in and out. If I'm losing this fight, you know, I'm probably winning this one. That's always very nice for me. Sandskimmer damage coming out now, so I'm getting even more upgrades to the Sandskimmers, massing them up a little bit more from these production cruisers. And Descara putting on a very good fight here, but he still has been pretty much behind this whole time. Power Reserve 3 now being researched, so he wants to begin militarizing his carrier, mostly so that he can, how do you say, so that he can kind of hold against like strike craft. You notice the advantage of having these missile ships in my army here is that he can't probe me, right? I've got a missile ship there and one there, which means that if probes are in that area, they get taken out. And probes are really important when you're using artillery. But he cannot use those probes, and that's actually very good for me. Gonna move up, occupy this high ground position again. Also running in here with these sand skimmers, which have one damage upgrade. Second one not yet on the way, but that's gonna be important, of course. I'm gonna stay in there for that long just to get one railgun, and that's when I kind of realized, like, this is kind of ridiculous. I can't really try that. But I do know that I have the railgun majority, so I can just take fights like that, you know, a bit more methodically. I did end up backing away off of this hill right here because I was worried about artillery barrages and what they could do to me. This little strike force here going to move back in again, and these guys have gotten so much value out of me. Just having my army in two positions has been so effective so far. It's one single assault railgun here ready to hold off all of these LAVs. That's pretty funny. Damage 2 on its way, mind you. Still no upgrades for the LAVs, by the way. Sand Skimmer's definitely going to take this fight, probably not even going to take a single loss. There comes the artillery though, and you can see I'm being very cautious, poking in and out because of this artillery here. Otherwise I could take some serious losses, like over here. Ooh. Come on, Cameron, come on. That's his name, look at that. Cameron. Anyway. Or maybe it's like Jamiran, but anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm poking in, I'm poking out. I'm never trying to stay for too long in any particular place because I'm worried about the inevitable barrage of artillery, as you can see here. If you just keep moving, you know, keep dodging in and out, you should be fine in that regard. The fourth artifact is going to score. This is probably not going to be contested either. Whoa, it's going to be a little too far in there. I have a number of railguns here, to put it simply. Descara definitely can't pressure this location, though it looks like he's going to try anyway. High ground not going to work for him here, though. As his number of railguns should just melt to mine. He'll probably take, you know, he'll take more kills than I do, but that's okay for me, I don't really care. This is also the GG artifact, mind you. So if this one can score, I win. There's, you know, a number of artillery cruisers. There's assault cruisers starting to come in the back line here to hold off against sandskimmer backstabs. But the railgun count is just definitely in my side. I really like Descara's, you know, army composition against what I'm doing here, but it's just not quite enough, you know what I'm saying? Sandskim is beginning to run in here. They're finding the artillery cruisers as well. Artillery cruisers, of course, pretty notoriously weak, especially to upgraded sandskimmers, which these are upgraded. I'm beginning to get my power reserves. I'm beginning to get interceptor fabrication even, just because why not, you know? This assault cruiser is in the hood, and you can see the damage it does against strike craft is pretty massive. It damages almost all of them at the same time, which is, you know, usually a pretty good thing. But Descara's army really forced to respond over on this side, and meanwhile, of course, on the back line, there's some kind of an attack going on, right? I push him off the second base. This time I don't kill the support cruiser, but, you know, that's fine by me. I should really use the barrage here, but I think my attention is just elsewhere. Who can really blame me, though? Both artillery cruisers went down, and that means I can bunch up as much as I want. I don't care. It is a priority target, though, this assault cruiser, because the tactical missile strike and just the normal attack would do a lot of damage to these bunched up units, but look how quickly it melts away. That's why people don't really use those things particularly often. And there goes the fifth artifact. It is going to score. And even if it didn't, I think, you know, Descara is fully producing railguns here, but I could have outdone him anyway. So that is game. So game number one with this kind of random tactic was a massive success. Let's see what Descara is going to do to respond to it in game number two. As I load that into the replay folder here, hit the continue button, move my mouse around in a circle, narrate my own actions as I have a sip on my drink. Good old water. Anyway, alrighty then. Oh wait, that's that. Okay, yeah. So map 2 is Descara's choice, and he's going to choose the shallows. That's a good choice from him overall, I think, whether or not I was going to play as random. I think I've been talking about it basically all of these tournament videos, but this is a map that I like. It's a good map, but I don't really like playing on it. I kind of try to avoid it if I can, because it doesn't really favor early aggression. I don't really know, you know, what kind of strategy I'm going to go for here playing as random. Because, I mean, I never know, but, you know, that's how random is, of course. But if I like to go aggressive. I like to attack people when I play as random, but I don't really think I can do it on the shallows. And looking back at things in this game, yeah, I roll as coalition, right? And my opponent doesn't know this. I'm going to try to keep it hidden from him. But I know that Descara is the better coalition player. And I've said it before in this tournament, if you don't suspect that you can beat your opponent, probably you ought to just try doing something funny, right? Try, you know, mixing it up. Go for like a turret rush like I did in that video against Garmulator, or maybe go for like a gunship rush or something like that. But I'm not going to try it. Instead, I'm just going to go for pretty normal, you know, economical opener. Nothing particularly funny out of me, which is a little bit boring. So I must apologize to the viewers for ruining your Desert of Kharak experience for the day. Can you drive on this, by the way? I wonder. Select a unit. No, you can't. Looks like you should be able to. Just because it's rock doesn't mean you can't drive on it. I'm just wondering because it's not mirroring the other side quite, is it? Anyway. So, support cruiser first build going to come out of me after 2 salvagers are produced. Choice is exactly the same from Descara, as you can see, but he didn't send out a probe early on, so he's actually a little bit faster than me. This probe, I did a very interesting thing with this probe, where I tried to scout without actually seeing anything, if that makes sense. Basically, he's out here in the middle, so if there is army in the middle, I want to know that. But if there's not, then I know that there isn't, and that means that he's going support cruiser first. My idea was, I don't want him to see a probe, because then he'll know what faction I am, so I'm going to scout without scouting, if you know what I mean. I think it's a cool idea, but I'm not actually sure if it works or not, but that's what I was thinking. Anyway, Descara did see the base runner there. If you just click on the base runner and it says base runner, then he's Coalition. If it says disruptor, then he's Sogon. So he knows who I am. Let me see here. I can't remember what the Galzian and Con F ones are. One of them is like the Shadow Runner, but I can't remember which one that is. Righty then, full eco on second base, established for both players. Descara, however, still just a little bit behind, ahead in that regard. I'm getting AAV fabrication slightly before he is. I set up my turret right here to help me extract the artifact, and I'm going to pick up this middle one. I like picking up the middle one instead of the back one, of course. That makes it just a little bit more difficult for your opponent to extract as well. Probe's going to have a little convention over here. Meanwhile, the turret going to claim the life of some poor LAV runner, but you know, it's the shallows. It's all green and such. Maybe he'll be okay. Maybe he'll be okay. Or maybe that's like some toxic moss or something. I don't know. But at any rate, I'm going to suspect that in the time that it takes for one guy to run from like here to here, we're already going to have like railguns on the map, like shooting at each other. So probably that guy's dead. You know, let's be honest. Anyway. Wouldn't that be an interesting feature in the game if when units die they left like a crew member and you could try to like pick him up and save him? I'm on high ground here, so I should take this fight actually. Descara seems to see it, and I've kind of split him off from his base runners. This is not bad. I'm going to do some good damage to my opponent's base runner as well. Not sure why I'm sitting here, probably want to be moving out. Yeah, there you go. Fighter and gunship fabrication going to be the choice from Descara, and really I should have seen this coming because it's Descara. I mean, like, that's what he does. He's a prolific air player. But I'm going to go into railgun fabrication here, try to expand my eco even more with another support cruiser before making any salvagers, mind you, which is also a little bit funny. Yeah, just kind of funny moves from me in general that way. You can tell perhaps that Coalition, it's just not my main. It's not what I'm used to playing. In fact, most of my experience with Coalition has been in 3v3s, where it's very easy to expand your eco very quickly, unless you're playing with Peter or something. So you just, you expand eco ridiculously fast, and then you kind of fight with these big armies. But that's not really the case in this kind of a 1v1. Your opponent will attack you a lot earlier than you're expecting. Also, I want you to look at this travesty right here. I leave this base runner alive with 19 health. Oh, what a fool I am. That was not a good move. Anyhow, Strike Fighter's going to come flying in. I could drop down an AA turret, but I don't want to do it here. This is not really the good location for that. It's going to clear out the turret. It's going to come in here and go for salvagers. Straight for the eco, straight for the heart. I do, a fairly decent split right here, but obviously no split is good enough against this many strike fighters. They will just kill your salvagers. You need to really just have anti-air before these guys come in. I'm going to go for support cruiser anti-air. That's my answer to this. But that is going to hold me back to my bases, essentially. Going for missile battery fabrication I saw as a bit of a loss, but I should have just taken the loss. What I'm doing here instead is kind of like saying, okay, well, I'll have anti-air, but only back in my base, so I can't push out into the middle of the map at all. And, a player like Descara is going to be able to capitalize on that. Not necessarily a terrible move, but not the best one that I could have made, I don't think. I'll get my bases resaturated pretty quickly, but this still does put me slightly behind in eco. Let's see, I actually up until then was slightly ahead of Descara in terms of upgrades. It's pretty interesting. Little AAV fight here in the middle, but it's done nothing. Oh, look at that! Look at the way that the barrel will still spin on this thing after it stops fighting. It's really cool. I mean, well, right now they are fighting, so it's a little hard to see, isn't it? Strike fighters, they're still being super annoying. I'm completely unable to kill these AAVs that are in this position, by the way. With my AAVs, they do like no damage. Here, now we can see what I was talking about. See, the barrel is like still spinning. That's cool. Anyway, Strike Fighter is going to contribute to this fight, and that means that he will. Essentially, it's like 0 damage, positive damage. So who wins? It's going to be these guys. But you know, when you get heavy vehicles armor 3, it's not even really a fight anymore. It's kind of like a tickling match. Anti-air turret post going up now for me. Just you can tell my anti-air is very passive. It's not, you know, mobile at all. I can't take control of the field, and every time that I try to, I'm getting punished for it. I lost an AAV that time. Lost another salvager too, I think, and definitely a logistics module went down right there. We're both going to get up to full railgun upgrades at about the same time here. You know, I think having played this match, the way that I cast it is a lot more, how would you say, like diagnostic, and you can kind of tell what the outcome of each round is supposed to be like before it actually happens. I must apologize for that. It's just, it's difficult when you actually played the game to try to kind of like pretend like you don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I try to move out here for some reason. I get kind of punished that way by the Strike Fighters. This base runner does not have 14 armor, so unlike these AAVs, it is going to get punished. Going to go down here. Big purple explosion, which makes an awesome noise. A bunch of tires go flying off in the distance. My support crews are up here trying to establish another base, but if you don't have control of this area, it's really hard to get control of this area. That's what I'm kind of noticing right here. I want to go into 4 bases and get an advantage that way, but that's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult indeed. Again, I try to move out with my railguns. I just get punished by anti-air over here. Support cruiser will be saved. It'll be fine. There are AAVs here to drop smoke on it, but definitely not, you know, the ideal situation here. These AAVs also obviously cannot fight the railguns, so I need to come back and then find like a response to them. And having no LAV like damage upgrades, really my only response to fully upgraded railguns like this has to be more railguns, and I'm kind of losing them out here in the middle. So this is really quickly beginning to spiral down, a little bit out of control. You can see I'm going for assault cruiser fabrication. Again, it's not to get assault cruisers, it's to get artillery. What is Descara going for? Just power reserves on his carrier. He doesn't need any kind of special tech to end this one off. They take so long to research anyway. Really no reason for that. He might as well just use his resources to get more and more railguns. Eventually he'll just be able to win that way. Now, I was basically repulsed off of this 4th base, and I don't think I'm going to get it anytime soon. The silver lining is that I can put this sport cruiser right here and free up my carrier, but the rain that comes out of the cloud regardless is that, you know, there's this many railguns out on the field, so my carrier not exactly going to be good. Not exactly going to be good for moving out anyway. I'm getting an assault cruiser, and the idea is to hold off this flank with right here with the assault cruiser because AAVs can't do anything with it, and then I can have ideas of backstabbing. But really thinking about it, with this many railguns on the field, I'm not sure why I'm building this. Doesn't seem like it's really going to get too much value out of it, especially if it gets taken out by air units. So I'm going to have to invest in assault cruiser anti-air if I really want to use this thing. Oh, and look at this. I'm going to try to take that 4th base again. I don't know how well that's going to turn out. Amazingly, strike fighters from Descara are getting killed by something, so that's nice for me. There is really no line of sight from those railguns up on this high ground position, so that's nice for me. I don't have to worry about my base getting kind of besieged from... Okay, well apparently I do because they can shoot through the rock there, but anyway. Just the okay things. But yeah, you know, this is some number of railguns here, and my railguns, they're just, you know, they're very much outnumbered, so they're definitely going to lose this fight. There's just no two ways about that. The carrier is also here, and it's heavily powered up. I have an assault cruiser in the mix. I try to hit T and I hit R instead, and I was like, you can't tell that I just face planted on the keyboard. Actually kind of hurt. And all my units die essentially. Assault cruiser, look how fast this thing is going to go down once it starts getting targeted. But yeah, like using the healing there is just like, oh man, what did I do this for? Lest anyone think I had a chance if I hadn't made that mistake, I really don't. This is what we would call a sound defeat. And any moment now, I'm probably going to GG out of the game. There you go. So, map 2 not exactly going my way. And I think it's because I didn't try anything special, you know? I rolled Coalition and I was like, alright, well then let's go with Coalition. But, you know, if you're going to play random because you feel like you can't beat your opponent playing Standard, and then you roll your non-main faction, and then try to play Standard, I feel like that's kind of, you know, you've got that coming to you. So, definitely my fault that this kind of turned out the way it did, and well played by Descara for just outpacing me at every turn. Let's move on to map 3, the ace match. Of course, it can't be a really fun best-of-3 series without an ace match, can it? Adds so much to the, you know, like the story element, you know, the crowd goes wild and whatever. It's going to be on Torrent and Crater. And before this match started, I was like, Coalition didn't go well, Galzian did go well. I really hope I roll Conf. That's what I want, because I want to keep mixing things up, but I don't want to play Soban or Coalition. So I was like, Conf, please, Sajuk, please, Conf. And that is indeed what I ended up rolling, as you'll see in a moment. Descara rolled Coalition. Whoa. But yeah, he doesn't know who I am, or yeah, what faction I am, that is. And I was expecting, you know, he probably is not particularly familiar with Blast Drone Cheese. Don't think this has been done to him too many times. So I thought to myself, well, I could get something funny done here. I could kind of do damage in an unorthodox way against my opponent here. I'm not going to go for a rush. I'm not going to go for anything like that. I'm going to play quite standard, with the exception that I'm going to invest a lot of money into blast drones and see how much damage I can do to his economy here. Not quite, you know, like Majir level blast drone attacks, but still significant, you know what I mean? Production Cruiser, of course, is in that Conf position to give the extra 3 speed to the Salvager during his entire route on the long distance mining. That's something that the Conf can do that's pretty spicy. And I am just gonna, you know, I got Sandskimmer Fabrication early, actually, just for the protection in case Descara chooses to rush me, but I don't think he's going to, really, just, you know, just in case. And I can make some kind of early scouting Sandskimmers as well. But I am gonna go very eco here. Try and just, you know, build up an economy before I try anything ridiculous with units. Descara going Sport Cruiser first. This is pretty much exactly what I wanted. Because if your opponent is going to go for, if you're going to go for blast drones against your opponent, you don't want them to have units on the field already. Like, heaven forbid AAVs, but even LAVs can give you a hard time when you're doing this kind of thing. This pro's going to come in here and scout, and he sees the production cruiser back at home. He doesn't see the base runner. And I think he's probably expecting that the base runner was retired at this point. But here's a lesson to the wise, that even Descara is going to get caught off guard by not knowing. If you're playing against Conf, find the base runner. It's out there somewhere. Find it. Find it. Because otherwise this is going to happen to you. Now I'm running out there with 3 blast drones already, as you can see. This is not my target, the second base. I'm going straight for the main. And I will detail to you what happens to Descara here. But you can see I made a second base runner, by the way, with blast drones coming out of that one also. Probe is not going to get any, you know, valuable information here. Now Descara, what he does is he tries to run a unit past my blast drones to get them to detonate on it, alright? And what he's thinking is that they're going to explode, because a lot of players will just kind of lazily have their units just not on any particular attack command, and once they run past a unit, they blow up. But if I take my blast drones, I hit control and I select his carrier, then they're attacking his carrier and they won't blow up until they come in contact with it, so I can run past all of the units, get up to the Salvagers, and then I hit D, and they explode. What a choke. It went off right there. That's fine. That's actually okay for me. Oh no, these ones are... So this is what he was expecting, right? You saw that one blew up right there. But I still got 2 Salvagers out of 3 blast drones, and that is actually worth it. Now I've got 3 blast drones in the area. I detonate that one to kill the LAV that was giving them some harm. And then I run in here, and I'm going to do it again. So you see me there targeting the carrier. They run straight in, get a really nice detonation right there. Second one comes in. How many is it going to get? 3 Salvagers. So I've gotten, I think I made something like 7 blast drones so far. We can actually count, can't we? So there's 1 left on there, there's 5 left on there, there's 2 here, so 6 and 2 makes 8. So I've made 8 blast drones so far, and I've gotten 5 salvager kills. 100% worth it. That is very good for me. If you look at the units lost tab, it may tell a different story, but this is like 700 plus mining time. This is 1050 plus, doesn't really matter, I guess. Refinery mode is on the way for me. I've got more blast drones coming out now. I'm not done just yet, but Descara is very much done. And so he's going to go ahead and put down a turret there. He doesn't want any more of this nonsense. And that is going to essentially shut down the blast drone phase of this map 3. But on top of it, I'm going to pull out 2 artifacts, which is kind of another advantage of going for this kind of blast drone cheese. You always have map control, you always get good artifact scores. Turret here, going to shut down the blast drones. I am going to try to kind of juke my way around the turret, but I decide, yeah, no, I can't get anything done there, so I might as well take him. So I get the turret for the last blast drone right there. But yeah, the damage has been done, and I am actually significantly ahead at this point. I'm even just kind of spamming missiles out here in case there's some LAV running around. I don't really think I'm ever going to hit anything though, so I eventually give that up, but just, you know, why not, right? Why not? Assault ship fabrication is going to be the tech of choice for me, and Descara has already gotten railgun fabrication, now he's getting AAVs as well. And I'm immediately going to go up into siege cruisers. My thought is, if I've gotten my, if I've hit my opponent hard with blast drones, maybe I can just move right into siege and he won't be ready for it. He's not fully saturated on the space. I hope he notices that, but you know, that's all right. But yeah, second production cruiser coming out here. I'm going to be on 3 bases pretty soon. I've got a couple of assault ships moving out across the map as well. Or, well, I mean, by that I mean exactly 1, but you know, whatever. Missile battery tech coming out for Descara because he saw these assault ships. He is expecting an air transition. That is wise of him. In this case, I'm not going to go for it just yet. I'm going to go siege cruisers instead, but I am planning on using interceptors for anti-air. And if I'm using them for anti-air, I'm going to try to use them for other means as well. And so those missile batteries are a good choice. And then he cancels it. Huh, look at that. Pro casting right here. I think he should have stuck on that, but that's all right. He's canceling everything. He's frustrated? No, he's flustered and yeah, that's the word. Flustered. Bozocow, what's happening to you? Anyway, beginning to mass a couple of assault ships. I really like massing assault ships myself. Siege cruiser fabrication is finished. And I think I'll probably start one of these immediately. I might go for another production cruiser first. I can't totally remember what I do here. But definitely siege cruisers are the idea for me. There you go, missile battery fabrication is going to get researched by Descara. Not sure why he canceled it before. Maybe he needed the resources for something else. You do notice he's making a support cruiser at the moment. But I'm not totally sure. Right, well maybe I'll make neither. Since my carrier is actually idle right now. And I'm starting to float. Whoa. Getting a bit of a float set up here. My goodness. There we go. Siege cruiser is going to be on the queue now. I feel like I almost had time to make a production cruiser during that time that I had a float there. That was pretty messy. I must apologize, my friends. I must apologize. You're going to see these AAVs running in here just in the nick of time, which is good. But Descara is actually still going to get some eco damage out of this. Probably anyway. Yeah, he should still. Especially these salvagers stop moving. They should really move up in this direction now. That'd be nice for me. Oh, look at that, blast drones. They didn't get anything though. That was a nice attempt though. That was pretty fun. Because, I mean, one of my favorite things about the blast drone cheese is that, like, just when you think it's over, there's more blast drones, you know, like, they never end. You know what I mean? Descara going to go for assault cruiser fabrication here, wanting to go into artillery, I assume. Artillery tends to be a very good counter against Kharak Siege. Cruise missiles, not going to be money shots right there. I'm not very particularly good with my cruise missile shots. That one's pretty good, though. I am going to clean up these AAVs, but at great expense. Quite a few salvagers taken out, quite a lot of mining time. And at this point, I almost feel that Descara has evened the score. He's mining completely fine on 3 bases. He's going up into auxiliary tech. He already has railguns and everything. He's got quite a few upgrades. Getting artifacts out on the map there. He's looking just fine, isn't he? This is a... okay, I thought it was saying this was a production cruiser, and I was like, why is this production cruiser moving out across the map like this? But whatever. The only thing he lacks right now is an answer to this siege cruiser, and he is going to get it in terms of siege, but quite a lot later on. I think he was expecting air first, and I think this is kind of going to come back to bite him. Air is going to be on the way, and you see me just now researching this tech. But not so quickly. And first he really needed to have an answer to these siege cruisers, so this is going to be a little bit problematic for him if it continues this way. I do want to stop these artifact extractions if it's possible, but it might not be in this case. You can see I'm just queuing up siege cruisers. That's all you need is ConF, man. Just make more siege. Another artifact gets scored, putting the scoreline to 3-0, probably soon to be 3-1, but this artifact here will have a little bit of trouble. There is, you know, a considerable number of assault ships in the area. ConF base runners just being annoying, popping smoke here and running off into the corner of the map to delay this this AAV for as long as possible. First artifact does get scored now by Descara. Now turrets do nothing against ConF siege, so I'm going to be fine with this. Now you'll notice I haven't gotten the range upgrade just yet. It's because I like to prioritize getting unit upgrades quite a lot, and that one takes so long. It's like a 60-second tech or something like that. Just gonna try a quick barrage on the railguns. Doesn't land too many hits though, and I have to back away. Meanwhile, I run up here with the assault ships. Do manage to get a base runner kill and deny that base runner. This guy flying upside down. He's a bit of the adventurous sort. Anyway, was not able to deny that extraction, but I do kill one of the base runners, and I'm feeling good about that. This base runner finally getting hunted down to the edge of the map, but look how... whoa. Oh shoot, I found a place where you can launch off of the map. Oh yes. So let's just... oh yeah, never mind. I was hoping I'd be able to keep it on that view, and then I could like survey the battlefield from like this far away, but anyway. Yeah, siege cruiser's coming up on the flank now. One siege cruiser also on this side of the map. He's got quite a number of railguns, but I'm thinking I can actually stop the artifact extraction by hiding behind this hill here, which blocks the line of sight, and then popping out at the last second and getting the kill, perhaps. But yeah, a backstab of 2 siege cruisers coming in here, and this is very significant. Descara needs to find an answer to this, and he needs to find it quick. Meanwhile, let's watch this artifact here. The barrage comes down, I start hitting it heavy with these assault ships here. And I learned quite quickly that I'm actually too late and I can't stop it. But I am going to kill the base runner, probably. Probably. Alright, whatever. You know that's my least favorite thing, when people leave units alive at like that little health. Very mad at myself now. This siege cruiser here going to do just a fine job cleaning up those LAVs right there. Siege cruisers here as well, encountering a bit of resistance now. They push my opponent off of that second base. And now you can see I'm beginning to deploy my air units for the first time here. But ConF Siege, man, it's so freaking annoying. Even when I use it, I can recognize how annoying it is. It just, you know, rails counter it, but then they counter rails too with that barrage. And like, you know, battle cruisers counter it, but then they counter battle cruisers with that barrage, and then, you know, it's just... there's such annoying units to deal with. It feels like they can almost do anything. Yeah, you know, I'm not a big fan of ConF Siege, but hey man, I'll use it. Another artifact scores for me, so that puts the scoreline to 4-2. And I have field control. Artifacts are spawning here. I've got 3 base runners moving out to them. That's happy times for me. Actually, I'm moving out to get this one with the base runner that's very, very damaged here, because I figured it would probably get taken out. But you never know, maybe he'll stay alive. Still more blast drone shenaniganry, possibly an option right here, by the way. As you can see that these guys are all full of blast drones, but that's not probably going to be used because there are turrets like everywhere. Now I'm going to launch the interceptors over here, but I do notice that there are missile batteries. So he's got anti-air. And in reality, he's had anti-air for like a long time now. So, you know, this was a kind of a foolhardy attempt right here. I think I probably had seen it earlier. I really should have, you know, not tried that, but that's alright. 3 siege cruisers are in the area over here, beginning to hit critical mass. This is where they can really take on railguns. They can even take on a carrier if they want to. And a huge backstab going to come into the economy for Descara. Carriers take almost no damage from siege cruisers so long as they put their power into their armor. And you can see him doing that now. So he's got 60 armor and I do, you know, 70 damage. Or no, actually I do 125. So I guess it's only when you have power forward in here. But, you know, it means that this carrier is not going to take very much damage at all by these attacks. So I guess you can see that there. The real problem is that I can take out railguns now with these siege cruisers just using mass barrages. And I can do it very well. Very well. Support cruiser anti-air still not researched yet, so he's going to need missile batteries if he wants to respond to my air units here. Missile batteries are all in middle getting killed actually, so this railgun having the time of its life. Or sorry, this interceptor. Siege cruiser is pushing my opponent back on this flank as well. I probably want to do a triple barrage now, just like in this area, to catch those railguns. Looks like I've kind of fallen asleep over on that side though. A lot of damage being done by this siege cruiser over here. Siege cruisers in the middle doing damage over there as well. I have 2 artifacts picked up now. All I need to do is bring them over to that extraction zone. Triple barrage finally comes down here and it's going to land right on top of my opponent's artillery. Maybe it's actually a good thing that I fell asleep because that thing's going to die instantly. Wow. I do my best when I'm doing my worst, man. Look at that. Range upgrade was finally finished on those things, on the siege cruisers. Did I get EMP'd? Yeah, I got EMP as well, even though I'm never going to use it this game. I know EMP can have a lot of effect, but I never use it. I don't know why. But I've cleared out the first, I've cleared out the second, I'm clearing out the third here with these siege cruisers. This is not looking particularly good for Descara. This siege cruiser, in fact, probably going to survive by some kind of miracle. No, he is going to die. He is going to die. But Descara is going to choose that moment to GG out of the game as he sees he has really just nothing left. I can tech into railguns. Oh, look at that, railguns. And I will eventually be able to score this carrier kill, and that's just going to be the game. And so I did it, guys. I did it. It only took me 6 times, but I have finally won the Kharak Cup. Right? Yes. Shower me with praise and adulation. I was very happy with this one. I was very happy with this one indeed. And the reason I was so happy with this one... Oh, look at that. Precision bomber fabrication. I'm really just going overkill now. The reason I was so happy with this is because I really feel like I didn't win by just kind of playing better. I won by kind of outsmarting my opponents, I really think. Or at least Descara here in this last best of 3. Not to say I'm the smartest guy in the room, you have to obey me or something like that, but, you know, I really feel like I played very well. I was covering all of my angles that I was supposed to cover, like I didn't, you know, lose any railguns in ways that I shouldn't have. I was just playing very, very smart the whole time, and I really was playing very interestingly as well, you know, in a way that my opponent really couldn't expect. So I was really happy with this tournament. I was really happy with it, and also really happy that we got so many people who joined it. And by the way, it could be a good time for a little bit of an announcement here, but there is a YouTuber, Heir of Carthage, who's got about 250,000 subscribers at this point. He's done some Descara in the past, and I invited him, you know, hey, do you want to cast this tournament as well? He said, yeah, sure. He hasn't gotten to them yet, but he has the replay pack, and he's planning on casting them pretty soon. And that could be big news for our community, because we don't have 250,000 players right now. I can put it that way. Heir of Carthage has made homeworld videos in the past, but that was back when he was smaller. They had, you know, about like 10,000 views each or so. So something big could be on its way, something really big. I'm really hoping for it. I really care about this community a lot, and I've done a lot of things to try to help it grow, but I think that having a huge YouTuber like this come in would be the best. So I'm really excited for that. I'm really hoping that some good stuff comes down our way. And I'm excited to see what he thinks of Kharak Cup 6 as well. Until that time, I will see you guys next time, and I'm going to cast as well a game today from the 2v2 League. So that is all from me. Goodbye.